My name is Niki Putriana. Now I will present about meeting age, that is meaning and language comparison. Meaning and language comparison. First is introduction to language diversity. Structuralism posits that each language is a unique system, suggesting that languages can vary significantly in how they name and describe things. This raises questions about whether all languages can essentially express the same truths in different ways, or if some concepts in one language are inexpressible in another. This debate revolves around the arbitrariness of semantic systems versus universal linguistic principles. Second is translations problem. Vocabulary and its organization differ across languages. Initially, learners assume one-to-one word correspondence with their native language, but this hypothesis often fails. Translation issues arise due to different languages having varying words for similar concepts and differing cultural contexts. And the third is case studies in translation. There is lexical fields, differences in terms like wood and tree, polysemy or multiple meanings for a single word, complicated translations. Next is basic concepts. Even simple terms like eat and drink differ in their application. For example, the Japanese term for drinking, or nomu, is used for consuming liquids and oral medicines, whereas English and German differentiates based on the context, e.g. spoon or direct consumption. Next is cultural and social meaning. Terms for social interactions can be particularly challenging. For instance, the German translation of English dialogues must consider when to switch from formal "si" to informal "du" addresses. Japanese adds complexity with different pronouns and forms of address based on social relations, such as familial titles instead of pronouns like I and you. Next is expressing headache in different languages. Grammatical structures also differ significantly. Analyzing how languages express having a headache illustrates these differences. First, I have headache combines the sensation, headache, and the body part, head, in a possessive construction. Second is German, similar to English but can use both singular and plural forms. Third is French, uses a possessive construction with three arguments term. Fourth, Russian, focuses on the body part with the verb expressing the sensation directly. Fifth, the Hungarian, ties the body part and experiencer into one with the verb focusing on the sensation. Sixth, Japanese, uses a verbal adjective construction without explicitly stating the experiencers, which default to the speaker. To indicate someone else's headache, Japanese relies on evidential construction indicating second-hand knowledge. Next is relativism versus universalism. The extent of language differences touches on universalism versus linguistic relativism. Universalists believe all languages are variants of a universal grammar and cognitive system, leading to limited differences. Relativists, associated with her Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, argue that each language shapes its speakers' worldviews uniquely based on its structure and vocabulary. Next is cultural and linguistic implications. Cultural elements in language. Cultural elements are often embedded in language. For instance, Japanese evidential constructions reflect the cultural importance of distinguishing first-hand and second-hand knowledge. This phenomenon underscores how language structures can influence thought process and social interaction. Similarly, Japanese terms for siblings or modes of address illustrate cultural hierarchies embedded in language. So the conclusion is languages exhibit both diversity and commonality, expressing thoughts and concepts. While universal principles might underlie language structures, cultural and social nuances often dictate specific linguistic features, demonstrating the interplay between language and cognition. I think that's enough from me. Thank you.